What's up, y'all? I'm back with more Black Mirror reviews. Um, Hopefully, you see my first one on striking vipers. If you haven't, go check it out. But today we're gonna talk about Smithereens, which was not as crazy as episode one, obviously, but it was still interesting. Obviously, Black Mirror has tackled the whole social media thing once or twice, but this one was a little bit more like personal, a little more mental thing. It was interesting. So it starts off with Chris, and he obviously is not mentally all there at the moment. Um, he's just sitting outside of this Smithereens place, and he's picking up people on this rideshare app, and he's looking for a higher up, and so he mistakenly kidnaps um, this the black kid. He's wearing a suit, so he thinks he's important. And he's talking on the phone, talking about I gotta go to the airport, blah blah blah. He was like, all right, I finally got one of the higher ups. And so he kidnaps the higher up, and he's trying to get in contact with the owner of the Smithereens, the person who created this social media app that is consumed the world. And there was a few things that I thought was interesting in this episode. The setup was good. The first person he picks up right off the back, he doesn't like this Smithereens company or whatever.
So you work in that place?
Sorry, miles away. I didn't catch that.
Is that where you work? Or I picked you up?
At Smithereen? No. Just visiting. I mean, I wish I worked there. The facilities they've got in there, they've got their own spa. It's madness. That's Billy Bauer money for you.
And so now we're trying to figure out why. And so I don't want to tell you the whole episode because I want you to go watch it. But later in the episode, there's one point I wanted to point out where the cops show up and they want to proceed with caution because of the previous incident where someone shot when they didn't need to shoot.
I know it's tense, but we're not risking a shitstorm like the whole Streatham thing with poor old Mr. Starter Pistol.
Mom,
Yes, I know, but he was unarmed and it was less than a month ago. Memories aren't that short yet. So no critical shot unless there's absolutely no choice. Okay?
Mom.
Personally wanted to point that little phrase out of the line. If you didn't catch it in the episode, I thought that was pretty cool. But it's kind of interesting episode. Obviously, social media has a big impact on our world today, and so the way they played it in the episode was that this guy he thinks he killed his wife because he was looking at his phone, which technically he did, which is why you should not Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, and drive any of that stuff. It can wait. But yeah, it was crazy. So we don't figure this out to the end. We just know he wants to talk to this Billy Bauer guy. They do a good job of misdirection because as soon as they said that his wife died in a crash, I was like, oh, he was looking at the app. But then they said it was by a drunk driver. So whoever wrote that script, that was good misdirection. But the most interesting part of this episode to me was when he actually talked to Billy, and he says that I don't really care what you do after this. I just wanted to say my piece.
I decided, fuck it.
Hey.
I quit Smithereens.
Hey.
That's it. I'm out.
Hey, shut up.
No, wait.
Shut up. I don't give a fuck what you do now. Beat yourself up or fucking run a victory lap. I don't care. I just wanted to say my piece.
And so that was really interesting to me. Like playing into like the human condition, kind of. Like obviously, we all have done terrible things, or obviously not that terrible, but we've all done things we've maybe regretted, and we would want to see circumstances changed. But for him, he had gotten to the point where he didn't care if the circumstances changed or not. He just wanted to say it to somebody who mattered. He wanted his voice to be heard as someone who like actually mattered in the world. Because I do something bad and I go tell my best friend, he's gonna be like, "Bro, that was crazy. You wanna go grab a drink?" So like getting it out to somebody who was actually important in the episode was pretty cool. So it was not super Black Mirror-esque, but from like a kind of like twisted mental standpoint, it's still a pretty interesting episode, I thought. I'm interested to hear what y'all thought about his mental state, because I liked. I thought it was very interesting how he wasn't really planning anything. Like, obviously he was gonna kill himself after he told this guy, but so it was like, what was the point of telling Billy Barr? Was the whole mental like psych of the episode. So try to figure out why is he so like gung ho on talking to the owner of this company. So it's an interesting little case study inside the human brain of someone who has, you know, messed up before, and then also obviously poking at the idea that social media has completely consumed um, our the way we live and stuff like that. When Billy talks to the guy on the phone finally, and he was like, you know, it started out like this, and then it just went this whole nother direction, and we have an entire department that's focused on like these dopamine hits, which is very true. I'm sure if you walked into a Twitter headquarters, they have people researching like what time of the day do people like get their high feeling reacts, or if people look at this, like, does that release dopamine in their brain, or the like button pop, is that going to release an extra amount of dopamine to keep people coming back to the app, stuff like that. Dopamine is obviously a chemical that releases in your brain that makes you feel happy, basically. For y'all who don't know what dopamine is. One other thing I wanted to mention was something they kind of glossed over in the episode, how everyone like consoled him after they found out that it was reported as a drunk driver, so the drunk driver got all the blame. So he was like, everyone consoled him, and they kind of breeze over it, but I thought it was important to mention, because right now in this era of social media, you know, when something happens, you know, the person it happens to, or the first person to report it or talk about it, or whatever, it's like they're standing on top of a big cliff or a hill or whatever, and as soon as they roll one rock, it's gonna pick up traction and turn into like this big giant rock slide or something, you know. And so whichever way they roll that rock, that's the way it's gonna go. So if it's in a good direction, it's gonna go good. If it's in a bad direction, it's gonna go bad. There's no in between. That's just the way everything carries on social media nowadays. So I thought it was interesting just to point out that like he felt like he couldn't even tell people the truth, because that slide had went down. Once they found out there was a drunk driver, like boom, that was the narrative, and there's nothing you can do to change it. And I think that's very dangerous in our society today, because obviously a lot of things happen, and our biggest form of communication is through social media. And so something bad can happen, and the one report can push it an entire way. There's nothing like we can really do to stop that narrative, because once it gains traction online, what do? You can't like discredit 10,000 people on Twitter saying the same thing, you know, like, and it gets out of hand, and then it gets bad, and then both sides get pushed to the extreme, and then we just have people hating each other for almost no reason whatsoever. So I thought that was an interesting thing to put in there, how he felt like he couldn't even tell the people around him because of the way the narrative have went. But that's just my little personal 2 cents on that. But of course, slide into the comments and tell me what y'all think about that too. But yeah, it was an interesting episode, man. I don't know if it was one of my favorites, but you kind of had to stick in there at the beginning. It's a long setup to figure out why he wants to talk to this Billy Bauer guy. But I don't know, definitely make me think about reducing my own time on social media and whatnot. But overall, good episode. Can't complain. Again, slide into the comments. Tell me what y'all think about it. I'm really interested to hear how y'all's take on the whole I killed my wife and now I just want to be heard, because there's a lot to unpack in that, obviously. One's mental state and grief and all that stuff. And then again, like, instead of blaming the company himself, he blamed himself, but he still wanted to be heard by, you know, the owner of the app, which is pretty interesting. I think interesting take on something like that. But yeah, slide into the comments if you like the video, like, subscribe. I will be back with the Ashley 2 video. That was a whole nother kind of story we'll be talking about next week. So there you go.